Hello, Kaiser Church. I hope you're having a good start to your week. Like many of you, I'm doing a lot of wide reading right now and different things. And one of the things I picked up this past week was a book of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. And many of these are familiar to us through Disney or other means, but one of my favorites is The Emperor's New Clothes. This story is about an emperor who was so infatuated with his clothing that he would have a new set of clothes that he would wear every hour of the day. In fact, the saying was, if you don't know where the emperor is, look in his changing room, he's probably there. He was so fascinated with the latest and the greatest and the most beautiful clothing. And one day these two swindlers came to town who decided that they would get rich off this emperor's vanity by claiming to be artisans who could make the greatest kind of clothing from a special kind of a material that's invisible. That is, it's only visible to people who could appreciate the most beautiful kind of clothes. For people who are stupid or ignorant or just incompetent, they can't see the clothes. But for those who appreciate good clothing, then they're very visible. And so the emperor heard about these two guys had come to town. And so he ordered a special set of clothes from them, and they accepted a large sum of money to get going with it. And so they began to work on it. Finally, when the clothes are finished, the swindlers bring them to the emperor, and they tell him, well, you have to take everything off and then put on these beautiful clothes. And the emperor himself doesn't see anything, but he remembers only the stupid or the incompetent or people who can't appreciate good things are the ones who can't see it. And so he pretends as well, as if he can see the clothes. And he puts them on and then begins to go through the town on a parade, showing off his beautiful new clothes. And all the people gathered around, and of course their first thought was, wait a minute, he's not wearing anything. But then they remembered only the stupid or the incompetent or people who can't appreciate good things are the ones that can't see it. So they all went along with the lie and shouted out, how beautiful you look, O Emperor, and your wonderful, beautiful clothes. But then one little child looked at the emperor and exclaimed, hey Mom, the emperor's not wearing any clothes. And everybody looked at him and said, oh, you poor child, you can't see reality. And the emperor went on his way, marching through town without a stitch of clothing on. And Hans Christian Andersen tells this story with kind of a smirk on his face, and because it creates, or it points to a reality, a vanity in our culture. People that don't want to be considered to be incompetent or stupid or not being able to appreciate things often go along with a lie because they think everybody else sees something that they don't see. And there are many morals that we could draw from this story, and I don't want to go through all of them today, but there's two things that I would just point to. First of all, remember the power of peer pressure. Remember the fact that we are social creatures who we want to be accepted by other people. We care about what other people think. And sometimes that desire to have good things thought of us can change our perception of reality. We might go along with things that really aren't true and aren't correct just to be approved of by individuals. And that's something we always must be worried about and be concerned about. Jesus said that, wide is the path that leads to destruction, but narrow is the way that leads to eternal life. We must remember that the crowds, the world as a whole, is going the wrong direction and sees things incorrectly. But we have received Christ. We've received God's perfect word, and it gives us the truth about things. And we must be willing to say, hey, the emperor has no clothes. The other thing I might point out, and I was thinking about this just regarding children. Children are often the ones who will say unfiltered things to their parents, to those around them. And sometimes those unfiltered things are speaking truth. And during this time of isolation, and kids are cooped up with their parents a lot, parents, please listen to your children. What are they saying about this time of isolation? Are they saying things like, it's been really fun to be around you, Mom and Dad, during this time. I've really enjoyed us playing games together. I've enjoyed having you around more. Put put that in your heart and realize that when we come out of this isolation, you might want to change your schedule a little bit so that you can have more time with your children because they're missing you. Listen to what your kids are saying. Learn from where they are at right now and grow from that. May God bless you this week. Have a wonderful week, and remember to study that memory verse, Psalm 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Have a great week.